Welcome to this video. In this lesson, we'll be solving the 2025 Mathematics Paper 1 questions. So let's take a look at the questions. So the first question is saying simplify. So in this question, we first have to expand what we have in the brackets by multiplying what you have outside the bracket. So the 3 will be multiplied with everything which is in the brackets here. So when 3 multiplies with x, you have 3x. And then when 3 multiplies with 9, you have, when multiplies with 3, you have 9. And then when negative 2x multiplies with x, what you have is negative 2x squared. And then the negative 2x, when it multiplies with negative 1, what you have is plus 2x. So now, the next step here is to just group the like terms. So we can write the negative 2x squared, and then the 3x, so we have plus 3x, and then the 2x there, and then plus 9. As you can see here, the 3x and then the plus the 2x here can be added together. So we can rewrite 2x squared. And then when we add this, what you get is plus 5x and then plus 9. So we have simplified this expression. We can now move on to another question. So it's saying the second question, question 2, it's saying evaluate 4 to the power of multiplied by 4. So we have numbers to the same bases being multiplied here. We are multiplying numbers to the same base. So what you do is you equate to the same base and then add the powers. So the same base is 4. And then you can add 1 over 2, which is half, and then plus 1. So this other one, 4, it is to the power 1. There's a 1 there. Let's add the powers. So half plus 1, what you get is 4, 3 to the power 2. And then this expression, the 4 to the power 3 over 2, it means that the 4, you have a square root of 4, and then this square root of 4, it is to the power 3. So what is the square root of 4? The square root of 4, it is just 2, and then to the power 3. 2 to the power 3, what you get, it is 8. And you are done. So we're done with the second question. Let's move on to another question. Question 3 says factorize completely 3a minus c minus 3ab plus bc. So the first step is to arrange the like terms. Not to equate, is to arrange the like terms. So you have 3a, and then you have minus 3ab. So these are like terms. And then you have negative c, and then plus bc. Now, the next step is just to factor out what is common. So we factor out what is common between 3a and then 3ab here. And then we also factor out what is common between these two as well. Between these two. So if we factor out 3a, which is common, what you have is this 1, 3a into 3a, it is 1. And then 3a into 3ab, what you have is just minus b. And then minus, again here, what is common, it is just a c. So you factor out a c, and then divide c into c, it is 1. And then negative c into bc, what you have is just negative b. The next step, it is just to put this 3a and then the negative c, we put them into the same brackets, and then the ones which are the same, which is the 1 minus b and then 1 minus b, we also put them into the same brackets. So we get the 3a and then minus c, we put them in the same bracket, and then we also have 1 minus b, we also put them into the same bracket. And we are done. We have factorized this expression completely. We can move on and look at another question. Question 4 says, shade A complement intersection B intersection C on the diagram in the answer space below. So here, first have to identify what is A complement. A complement, it involves all the elements which are not found in A. So all the elements which are not found in A can be found where you have this space B and then where you have C, but they are not found in A. And then the intersection of B minus C, we also have to know it. So here, what will be the A intersection B intersection C will be just this region here. This is where it will be. So this is where we have our A complement intersection B intersection C. Let's move on to another question. Question 5 says, solve the equation x minus 1 to the power 2 minus 25 equals 0. So let's first expand the brackets here. We write it as x minus 1 and then x minus 1 and then minus 25 equals 0. The next step is just to expand the brackets. So we have x multiplying with x and then x multiplying with a negative 1, and then the negative 1 also multiply with x and it also multiply with a negative 1. So x multiplied by x, what you have is x squared, and then x multiplied by negative 1, what you have is negative x, and then the negative 1 multiplied by x, what you have is negative x, and then the negative 1 multiplied by negative 1, what you have is just positive 1, and then minus 25 equals 0. So the negative x and the negative x, we can add them. We write x squared, and then the negative x minus negative x, what we have is negative 2x. And don't forget about the 1 minus 25. It will give us negative 24 and then equal to 0. So what we have now is a quadratic equation. We first have to identify what is our product, P, and then what is our sum, and what are our factors. So in order to identify the sum, we multiply the coefficient of A and then C. So 1 multiplied by negative 24, our product will be negative 24. And then the sum, it is just the coefficient of B. So the coefficient of B here, it is negative 2. This is our sum. Now, in order to find the factors, we have to find two numbers. When we multiply them, they will give us negative 24. And then when we add them, they will give us negative 2. How about we multiply 4 and 6? When you multiply 4 and 6, it will give you 24. But what we want, it is a negative 24. So one of them must have a negative. Let's put a negative on 6. So you have 4 and 6. And then in order for this to balance, a negative should be put on negative 6 there, on 6 there. So that when you multiply 4 and 6, you get negative 24. And then when you add 4 plus negative 6, what you get is negative 2. So the next step is just to replace with the factors into the equation. So you can write plus 4x and then minus 6x and then minus 24 equals 0. What we can do here, it is just to factor out what is common on both sides. So on these two, factor out what is common, and then on these other two, we also factor out what is common. So if factor out what is common here, which is x, and then x into x, what you get is just x, and then x into 4x, what you get is positive 4 plus 4. And then we can factor out a negative 6 on both sides, because 6 can also go into 24. So we factor out a negative 6. And then 6 into negative 6x, what you get is just x. And then negative 6 into negative 24, what you get is just plus 4. And then equal to 0. Now, the x and the negative 6, we can put them into the same brackets. We can write x and then minus 6. And then the x plus 4, we can also put them into one bracket. So you have x and then plus 4. And then it will be equal to 0. The next step, it is to equate the first bracket to 0 and then the second also bracket to 0. So if we do that, you have x minus 0 minus x minus 6 equals to 0, or x plus 4 equal to 0. Here, on the first one, when the negative 6 go to the other side, it will become positive, so your x will be 6. And then on the other side here, when the x goes to the other side, when the 4 goes to the other side, the value for x will be negative 4. So x can either be 6 or it can either be negative 4. So we are done with this question. We can move on to another question. Question 6 says, in the following diagram, P is the point 0, 4, Q is the point negative 4, 0, and O is the origin. Find the equation of a straight line through O, which is perpendicular to the line PQ. So we are finding a line which is passing at the origin. It passes directly at the origin, and this line, it is also perpendicular to the line PQ. So this line will be something like this. That's the line. And then we have to find first, in order to find this line, what we need is the gradient. We will need the gradient. So let's first calculate what is the gradient of this line, of the line PQ, and then it will help us calculate the gradient of this other line that we are looking for. So I'll name the first gradient as M1, which will be equal to Y2 minus Y1 over X2 minus X1. We have been given points which lie on this line PQ. So your X2 will be 0, and then minus 4, and then down there you have our x2, which is equal to negative 4, and then we can it is minus 0. So now let's calculate this. This will be 0 minus 4, it will just be negative 4 over, and then negative 4 minus 0, it will just give you a negative 4, and then negative 4 divided by negative 4, what you have is 1. So M1, it is 1. So we can use this gradient to find the gradient of this other line that we are looking for. So we apply the formula M1 multiplied by M2, it is equal to negative 1. And we know that M1, it is 1. So you have 1 multiply with M2 should be equal to negative 1. Therefore, M2 in this case will be negative 1. We have found the gradient of the line that we are looking for. Now, let's apply the point form, where you have y minus y1 equals m x minus x1. Now, when you look at here, the point that lie on this line that we want to find, there is 0, 0 here. Since it passes at the origin, and at the origin we have the point 0, 0. The origin, it is 0, 0. So we'll use this point and then replace where we have y1 and also where we have x1. And then our gradient, it is -1. So we can write y minus 0 equals -1, open bracket, x minus 0. Y minus 0, it is just y. And then equal to -1 multiplied by x, you have -x. And then -1 multiplied by 0, what you have is just 0. So the other line that we are looking for, it is just y equals -x. So this is the other perpendicular line that we were looking for. We are done with this question. Let's move on and then look at another question. Question 7 says, given that a equals 1, -5, 2, 4, 3, and 7, and then b it is equal to -2, 4, and then c equals 3 and 1. Find the A transpose of A, B matrix BC. So A transpose, we are finding A transpose. The first part is finding A transpose. So A to T will be equal to, the row will become the column, and the column will become the row. That's what it means to have a transpose. So here, what is in the row will become the column. So 1, you write 1, and then -5. You can see that the row has become a column, and then we can also get the 2, and then 4, and then we can also get the 3, and then 7 there. So this is your A transpose. And you are done with this one. We can move on and then look at B, which is finding the matrix BC. So the matrix B here, look at this matrix B, it is 1 to 2. It is 1 by 2. And then C, it is 2 by 1. So from this, it means that your BC will be a 1 by 1 matrix. So your BC will be a 1 by 1 matrix. So let's now multiply let's get the two matrices and then multiply them. So BC will be equal to -2, and then 4, and then we can write 3, 1 there. We multiply row by column. So -2 multiplied by 3, it will be -2, and then multiplied by 3, and then plus 4 multiplied by 1, 4 multiplied by 1, -2 multiplied by 3. So the resulting matrix will be, when we multiply -2 by 3, what we get is a -6, and then plus 4 multiplied by 1, it is just 4. So the matrix, the final matrix will be -2 plus, -6 plus 4, it will just be -2. -2. -2 will be the final matrix. So BC, it will be -2 there. We're done with this one. Let's take a look at another question. Question 8 says, so question 8 has two parts. You have A, which is if P equals, so these are sets, equals 1, 2, 3, and 7, and P union Q equals 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. And then you have P intersection Q equals to 5 and 7. List Q. So they want us to list the elements which are in the set Q. So this is the first part, A. Let's get the set P union Q first. P union Q, which is equal to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. So from this set, we can cancel out the elements which are found in the set P from this set. So the ones which are found in the set P are 1. You also have 3, which is also in the set P. And then 5, it is also in the set P. And then you also have a 7, which is also in the set P. Let's get the other set, which we also have an intersection set. So this intersection set, it means that it has elements which are found in both sets, which is P and Q. Elements found in both sets, P and Q. So from here, it means that 5 and 7 are also in Q. So we can now list the elements which are in the set Q. We can start with 2 and 4. It is also in the set. And then 5, it is also in this set. And we have 6. 7, it is also found in the set Q. So the set Q, it is 2, 4, 5, 6, and 7. We are done with this one. Let's find the second part of the question, which is B. So B is saying a village banking cooperative for women declared a dividend at the end of a financial year. What was the dividend per share if Mrs. Spencer, who owned 1,025 shares, received other 2,050 shares? It received 2,050. What was the dividend per share? So in order to find the dividend per share, dividend per share, it is equal to the total dividends you have total dividends over the number of shares. Number of shares. So in order to find this, so what was the total dividend? The total dividend was 2,050. Around 2,050, and then we can divide this by 1,025. So the dividend per share, it means that when you divide this, your dividend per share will be R2. Will be 2 rands. So this is the dividend per share that was received by Mrs. Spencer. Question 9 says that given that 7, 11, 15, 19 is an arithmetic progression, find the 10th term sum of the first 12 terms. So let's first find the 10th term. The formula for the nth term, it is given by a plus n minus 1 and then multiply by d. So let's first find we'll need the common difference. So common difference, which is d, will be given by t2 minus t1. So if we get 11 minus 7, what we have is 4. So the common difference, it is 4. And then the first term, it is 7. We can now solve the question. So T10, where there's n, we replace with 10. And then where there's a, we replace with 7. And then plus 10 minus 1. And then multiply by 4. We can write 7. And then plus what we have in the brackets, which is 10 minus 1, it will be 9. So you have 9 and then multiply it by 4. 9 multiplied by 4, you get 36. So this one will be plus 36. 7 plus 36, you have 43. So your 10th term, it is 43. Now from here, we can solve the sum of the first 12 terms. Formula of the sum of the first, formula for the sum, it is given by n over 2, 2a plus n minus 1, and then d. We are finding the sum of the first 12 terms. So where there's n, we replace with 12. And then the first term here, it is 7. And then plus what you have as n, it is 12. And then minus 1. And then multiply by the common difference, which is 4. All right, so 12 divided by 2, you get 6. And then 2 multiplied by 7, you get 14. And then plus 12 minus 1, what you get is 11. And then multiply it by 4. So we can write 6. And then multiply what you have in the brackets. So you can write 14. And then 4 multiplied by 11, what you get is 44. And then 6. 44 plus 14, your answer will be 58. So 58, and then multiply by 6. The sum of the first 12 terms will be 348. So this is the sum. We are done with this question. We can look at another question. Question 10 says, so question 10 has 2 parts. The first part, it says the probability that Elena will not miss the school bus on any particular day is 1 over 8. What is the probability that Elena will miss the bus on any particular day? So we are saying the probability for this one, A. Probability that this person will miss the bus. Probability that will not miss the bus. Not miss the bus. Not miss the bus is equal to 1 over 8. So the probability of missing the bus is what we are supposed to find. So probability of missing the bus will be 1 minus 1 over 8. Since probability is always out of 1, so we get 1 and then minus 1 over 8. So 1 multiplied by 8, what you get is 1 multiplied by 8, what you get is 8, and then 1 negative 1 multiplied by 1, it's just still 1 here. So the probability of this person missing the bus will be 8 minus 1, so this one will be 7 over 8. So this is the probability that this learner will miss the bus. We can move on to the second part of the question, which is B. Two similar solids, X and Y, have surface areas 5 centimeters squared and 20 square centimeters respectively. If the volume of solid Y is 200 square centimeters, cubic centimeters, calculate the volume of solid X. So we have been given the surface areas first. So let's write the surface areas for these two. You have X, so their surface area will be to the power 2. The ratio of their surface area is to the power 2. So the first one, it will be 5, and then the other one, it is 20. So 20 and 5, this can be reduced. 5 into 5, it is 1. And then 5 into 20, you have 4. So from here, what we have to do in order to find the ratio of their volumes, we have to find the ratio of their volumes. We have to take it back to the ratio of their length. The ratio of their length. And how do we do that? We introduce a square root on both sides. So I can write x squared, square root here, and then the y squared, I can also put a square root there. So this one is equal to 1 squared, square root of 1, and then the square root of 4. What you have, it is x. This and this will cancel out, this and this will cancel out. And then what you have is just x and y. And then the square root of 1, it is just 1. And then the square root of 4, it is just 2. So we have this now. We can find the ratio of their volumes. So from here, in order to find the ratio of their volumes, we have to put these ratios to the power 3 and then to the power 3. So x to the power 3 and then y to the power 3. And then 1, it will be to the power 3, and then 2, it also to be to the power 3. 1 to the power 3 is still 1, and then 2 to the power 3, what you get is 8. Okay, now from here, what you do in order to find out the volume of solid X, the volume of solid X, volume of solid X, volume of X will be equal to the 200 cubic centimeters, the 200 cubic centimeters, and then divide it by 800. So here we can divide 8. Let's first divide 8 into 20. 8 into 20, you have it as 2, and then there will be a remainder of 4. The 4 and the 0, it will become 40. And then 8 into 40, that is 5. So the volume of solid X, it is 25 cubic centimeters. We have come to the end of this video, the first part of this video. And if you're watching me on YouTube, you can subscribe to my channel. And if you're watching me on TikTok, you can follow my page, and see you in the next video.